Coming in hot. YNW Melly is in big trouble, and I think he knows it now. I think everybody around YNW Melly knows now that he is in big trouble. Let me say it again. I think everybody around YNW Melly knows now that he is in big trouble, especially after Bortlen took that plea deal. A lot of people are still holding on to hope that whatever Bortlen says in his coffer statement through his plea deal will not affect YNW Melly in any way, shape, or form. That's a fairy tale. Melly knows different, and his lawyers are telling him different behind the scene. The latest news headline says rapper YNW Melly is now seeking to replace his entire legal team. He wants to replace his lawyers this far in the game. A bombshell request has been made. This came straight out of NBC Miami. A bombshell request has been made by rapper YNW Melly. The bombshell request is that he wants a totally new legal team as he faces double murder retrial in Broward County. I don't know. I don't know who got to him. I don't know if he's looking at it like he can't win. I don't know if he's looking at it like maybe he's paid enough money to these people already and they haven't gotten him out on bail. They haven't gotten any charges dropped. They haven't gotten anything done except for him sitting in there, and they keep filing motions and keep stalling the case. So he has to keep paying more money to keep them on the case and more money because the time keeps extending. You know, crazy thing is, people have said that this is a tactic that attorneys might be using. Like, if they are his attorney and they've looked at all the paperwork already, they pretty much know that he is cooked. And if he is cooked and he has some money sitting in the bank, why not get rich off that money? He's not going to need it where he's going. Besides, he's looking at life without the possibility of parole or possibly even a death penalty. So why not make a quick million off of him before he goes off into the sunset or into the dungeon, whichever way you look at it. So in a new motion, Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, he is asking that Drew Findling and Kerry Hawkworth represent him in a double murder case moving forward. Drew Findling and Kerry Hawkworth. He's replacing Raven Liberty. That is the only female attorney that he has that was also under investigation. According to the Broward County Sheriff's Department, she's been under investigation for quite some time now. They haven't said what she was under investigation for, though. I think it was witness tampering or something. He wants to replace Stuart Alderstein as well. He wants to replace Daniel Aronson as well, and two others who have represented him for years. I know you're in a desperate situation. I know you're trying to get out by any means necessary. But when you have Raven Liberty, Stuart Alderstein, Daniel Aronson, plus two other lawyers, that's 5 attorneys. He got that much money that he can afford 5 attorneys to represent him? Most people can't even afford 1 attorney. Wouldn't it make sense for him to streamline his money and put it more into 1 attorney and their assistant or their team or their firm, just like he's trying to do now with Drew Findling and Kerry Hawkworth? He's trying to go down from 5 to 2. People are also saying his money is drying up. He got a long ways to go before he gets to trial. His trial was supposed to start this month, September. As a matter of fact, it would have started jury selection a week ago at this point. However, we're looking forward to 2027 before trial begins for YNW Melly, which those attorneys are going to have to be paid in the meantime for their work. And I'm guessing that they don't come cheap. They don't work minimum wage. So Melly charged in 2018 shooting death of Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., which is Sack Chaser and Juvie, YNW Sack Chaser, YNW Juvie, respectively. Court documents references that there was a conflict of interest with Raven Liberty, the female attorney, who is still the subject of a Broward Sheriff Office investigation. Little is known publicly about that investigation, though, but the mere existence of that is kind of letting Melly say, you know what, if they got you under investigation and you don't know what it is, and I don't know what it is, it's best for us to part ways. Because I don't want to start going through my trial with you, and then in the middle of my trial, they reveal what it is, and it has something to do with my case, and then I get thrown under the bus for it. So the motion to substitute counsel states, it says this, it's called a motion to substitute counsel, which is the motion to take out whoever you have in now and put somebody else in the game, coach. The motion to substitute counsel. You know, everything has to be done pen and paper through the court system. You can't just wake up and say, lawyers fired, this is my new team, we're moving forward. The new team is going to have to get caught up on all the stuff that has been done before. Every motion that was filed, every new charge that was added, every time they went to court, what the findings were. And of course, all the details about all the evidence that the prosecution has against their client and all of that, that's going to take a lot of work. And then to have 5 people going and 2 people coming in to do 5 people's work, the workload might not be that easy to manage as well. So the motion to substitute counsel states, it says that Mr. Demon's current team may be unable to fully litigate this issue without fear of further recrimination in the criminal case against one of the team. Replacing attorneys at this late stage in the game, it's not unheard of, said one criminal defense attorney, Joshua Rydell, who is watching and weighing in from the outside. He's like, you know, it's not something that has never been done. It's something that they do, actually. You see it more frequently in these high-profile capital cases, though, which Melly's case fits that role. But it could also signal a change in strategy. What is the change in strategy? You know, I'm going to make a prediction, right? I don't think Melly is going to go all the way to the end. I think there will be a deal on the table for him too. And the deal on the table for him is he will tell all, which will give him a chance to formulate his own story of what happened. So he's going to go tell all, right? And in exchange for a guilty plea, they will take the death penalty off the table and he will get 75 years in prison, eligible for parole after 50. That means he got 25 years for Sack Chaser, 25 years for Juvie, and he'll be, the most you could do is 75, the least you'll do is 50. If he does that, he'll be out of prison and 70-something years old. But at least he has a date to get out of prison. If he doesn't take that deal, then he could end up in prison for the rest of his life without the possibility of parole or possibly on Florida's death row. That's my prediction of what I think is about to happen in the YNW Melly case. He's backed into a corner right now. He's probably panicking right now. His homie done took the deal, the most loyal of all homies. Even though they're saying nothing Bortlen says is going to be used against him, I don't think he's believing that. I don't think he's buying that. Something you can read into this is, especially the lawyers that are attempting to come in on the case, said Rydell. He says that they specialize in different things and they have different profiles. That could be something that the defendant wants in this case. Now, Judge Martin Feen, who is presiding over the case, he is considering the motion on the heel of YNW Melly's co-defendant, Courtney Henry, taking a plea deal. See, this has to go through the judge. The judge could either say, it's too late in the game, we're going to go ahead and keep your same team, or he's going to say, the wish is granted. Change your lawyers, let's move forward. I'm willing to bet that Judge Feen will allow him to change his attorneys. And the reason being is they don't want in the future him on appeal say he was denied proper counsel. He saw something wrong with the attorneys who were representing him, and he tried to change them legally, and the judge denied it, so he had no choice but to go along with compromised representation. So I think the judge is definitely going to go ahead and give him what he's asking for, a change of team. While, of course, YNW Bortlen rides off into the sunset, finishes up his time, and gets back to life. On Tuesday, Courtney Henry, known as YNW Bortlen, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison when the judge found him guilty on witness tampering and accessory after the fact charges. In exchange, the state dropped the 2 murder charges against him. Now, we all know, if you watched the trial, you would have seen that the state theory is that Courtney Henry, or Bortlen, YNW Bortlen, was not the trigger man. He did not commit the murder. However, if you are complicit, if you helped to cover up a murder, then you are as guilty as the person who committed the murder. So they might not have been able to get a guilty for Bortlen on capital murder, but they could surely have gotten a guilty on accomplice to murder. They could have gotten a guilty on accessory before, during, and after the fact. They could have gotten a guilty on his efforts to help to cover it up. And all that stuff would have even landed him in jail for a life sentence anyways. So he might as well have copped a plea. So that is what he did. And in exchange for that, the state dropped the 2 murder charges against him. The state said 10 years you do behind bars, 6 years you'll do on parole. We'll subtract time you've served already, which is, I believe, like 4 years. So he's left with 6 years, and then 85% of that brings him down to about 3.5, 4 years. So Bortlen has about 4 years left behind bars, and then he'll be out to live his life again. He's 27 now. He'll be out by the time he's 32, 31, 32, somewhere around there. Young enough to drop a hot album or make money off all these podcasts that are willing to pay a lot of money, Vlad TV and the rest of them, to do interviews, right? And to speak about the situation, even if his music isn't popular and he's not booking shows. Now, we may think that there's some correlation, but knowing the system and how the system works, I don't think there's any correlation between the two, said the attorney, Rydell. He doesn't think that YNW Melly is trying to change his legal team just because Bortlen accepted the plea deal. I think it is. I think it is. The judge has to sign off on the change of attorneys. And Judge Fiend asked YNW Melly multiple times earlier this year if he wanted to hire new attorneys because of the conflict of interest, and YNW Melly said, no, I'm sticking with the team that I have, multiple times. And now, all of a sudden, apparently, he's had a change of mind. So now he's saying, actually, I do want a new team, Judge. YNW Melly's double murder retrial has been pushed all the way forward and is set for January of 2027. We're not even in 2026 yet. But you know what? If it's set for January 27, this will give his new representation or his new attorneys over a year to get it together. And then come 2027, it's full court press. What do y'all think is going to happen in the YNW Melly case? What do you think the outcome is going to be? Let me tell you again what my prediction is. My prediction is there will be a deal on the table for YNW Melly. The deal is going to be that the state will drop the death penalty if he pleads guilty. He, in exchange, will explain what happened. This will give him a chance to twist the story into it was self-defense or something like that, whatever the case may be. He is going to be sentenced to about 75 years in prison. 50 of that he will have to do before he is eligible for parole, which means he will be getting 25 years for sack chaser and 25 years for juvie. He will be out of prison in his 70s, early 70s, but at least he will be out of prison. If he does not take the deal, he risks being in prison for the rest of his life without the possibility of parole or even being on Florida's death row. That's my prediction. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think's about to pop off in the YNW Melly case. And I'll meet you in the comment section where we can share thoughts. Hit that subscribe button. Help this channel to continue to grow. And I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.